listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
It's the afternoon delight version of Sweep the League. It's Rudy Campos Jr. I am joined by one of the Hall of Famers of Sweep the League. It's going to be Coach Gio himself. Coach is back, man. It's been forever since you've decided to join me on this endeavor that you and I started a long-ass time ago, man.
Well, Rudy, your check finally cleared, so I was able to come on the show. I spoke to my union rep. He said, hey, don't go on the show until Rudy pays you. So
we were kind of under hush-hush for a while there, network stuff and everything. So that's kind of why. But yeah, the checks have cleared. We're definitely back pretty much 100%. We're coming to you just about every single day, man. And Gio's going to try to join me as much as possible from when I'm not mistaken. But I got something I got not a bone to pick with you, but I definitely have a comment that I want to ask you. It's a concern of mine. I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. It is Sweep the League. It's Rudy Campos.
Here we go.
It's
starting off with a bang.
Yeah, it's Coach Gio. It's Rudy Campos Jr. We're going to talk some NFL, man. NFL predictions. We're going to do some predictions here before, like I mentioned, before the balls to the wall season starts. It's going to be a very good season NFL-wise. I got a good amount of teams that can actually make Super Bowl runs. And again, barring health issues, I have a few teams that can make Super Bowl runs. We're going to talk NFL, NBA talk, finals talk. We're going to get Gio's thoughts on the finals and probably, a little bit of mock draft stuff. ESPN just released their latest mock draft. Who do the Spurs have picking at 4 and 8 if they take the picks? But first and foremost, man, we got to give shout outs here. Drinking, of course, my special leaf tea out there, special leaf bread. Get your special
Am I going to get some, Rudy?
You are. I will make sure you get your shipment of special. That was part of the contract that we signed. We had
that's what it was.
Part of the contract.
That's what was included. Okay. And Burger Boy.
Burger Boy's another one. Shout out to Burger Boy. We got some Burger Boy gift cards. Not only that, MCS General Contracting, man, great supporter of Sweep the League. La Cocina Food Truck. We got tons of ads to go through. La Cocina Food Truck over in New Braunfels, Texas, my neck of the woods now. Best food truck in the business. We've got commercials coming for everybody as well. So we're doing some ad reads right now. Not only that, man, everybody out there that supports us, we love you guys. Lids as well. We've got a lot of Lids gift cards as well. So be sure to check out all of these guys that are supporting us here at Sweep the League. Tim Gonzalez is in here, Gio. Your boy, the Blue Devil man himself, Tar Heels suck. Blue Devils all the way. You've been missed by Tim, Gio.
Tim, listen, I've never met someone who loves Duke sports more than Tim Gonzalez. That man loves. I like Duke, but Tim, football, he doesn't miss anything. He's always on there.
I see him posting all the time.
All the time on Duke. Tim, you are a real Duke fan on all of sports.
Are you just a Duke fan in basketball and that's it?
Yeah. So just basketball. But I mean, Rudy, what do you mean just basketball? You know who my college football team is, Rudy?
I get that. But isn't it like against the law?
No. Listen.
It's not against the sports law to not root for it. Now, you can be a Georgia football fan. I'm not saying anything against that, but isn't it against like the whole college Bible to just say, I love Duke basketball, but I don't love Duke football, or I don't like Duke lacrosse. We know that whole issue with Duke lacrosse way back then. I mean, you've got to like anything and everything Duke if they're your favorite school.
No, they're my favorite college basketball team.
So why don't you like Georgia basketball? Because they suck?
Well, that, and growing up, all my brothers enjoyed North Carolina basketball. I went against the grain, Rudy. I went against conventional wisdom and decided to go the other way.
You went to the dark side is what you did.
I'm my own person, right? So they root for the Carolinas. I decided I'm going to go root for Duke. And ever since, the late 90s, I think I'm trying to think of one of my first Duke game. My first Georgia game, though, I'll never forget, Rudy. My parents had moved from New York, or we all moved from New York down to Florida. And I hated the fact that I was moving to Florida. And the first thing that I put on, Rudy, is Georgia versus Florida. That was the first college football game I have ever watched. Was back in 2000. I said I hated Florida. I'm rooting for Georgia. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history. So there are stories and layers to why certain teams have kind of given, my attention throughout the years. But nothing against Duke football. They're trying to rebuild there. Quarterback transfer, Rudy. I forgot his name.
I don't really follow Duke, so I couldn't.
Yeah, they're the top candidate had left. But hey, Tim is the rep. So, I mean, he loves them. And he has the jerseys, the hats. I mean, that's a true fan right there of Duke.
100%, man. Thanks, Tim, for joining us here. It is Sweep the League. Again, man, we come to you live on the evenings, and I'm going to just say right now, man, the evening shows have been, 100 plus. Last night was about, I think, 100 plus last night. The other night, it was like 200 viewers all at one time. So we're definitely going to rock with the evenings as well. We know during the day it's kind of hard to get away, but we're doing little short shows during the day as well for all you guys out there. We got Coach Gio today. It is Sweep the League. It's pretty complicated. It is Coach Gio. Man, NFL predictions, dude. I mean, I want to get into some minutes. Malik Murphy is who he's Mike Murphy as well as well. Murphy is the quarterback that you were talking about, but NFL talk, dude. So my NFL mock season prediction was released recently, and my Super Bowl was, again, barring injury, were the Jets and the Detroit Lions. I had the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl this year. Can't really say that, that's a reach for Detroit. You saw what they've done, especially the past couple of years. They saw what he did last year. I mean,
way to go on the limb there, Rudy.
I've been supporting Detroit for the last couple of years, man. You know that for a fact. I've been supporting them. But I gave some love to your Rams in my mock. I had the Rams as the number 1 seed.
You had us losing to Detroit again?
Yes, I did.
Rudy, that's ridiculous.
How is that ridiculous? Detroit overall is the best team in the NFC.
I think the Rams will have something to say. I'm telling you right now, Rudy, that the Rams' defensive draft was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it wasn't pretty good. It was damn good.
It was damn good up front. Listen,
very good.
As many of you may know, Aaron Donald has retired. The Rams are now kind of restructuring that defensive front. Also, new defensive coordinator as Raheem Morris heads to Atlanta, Rudy, where I don't know what is going on with your team at the quarterback position, but
don't ask.
I'm interested to see the Rams, but I if the Rams lose to the Lions again in the playoffs, I might just lose my head because those Lions fans all offseason, I've had to hear on Twitter that the Rams are trash, this, and that. I'm fine with the Lions. The fans are disgusting.
Rams and Lions are the 2 top teams in the NFC for me. I will say that for a fact. Those are my 2 top teams in the NFC. Cowboys are going to make the playoffs. I don't get the Cowboy. We're going to talk about that because Cowboy fan, I talked about it last night. Cowboy fans, their fandom thinks the sky is falling, but quietly they didn't do anything in the offseason, but fill the gap. The main gap being the offensive line, which they were able to do in the draft. We're getting to Cowboy talk in just a little bit, but you mentioned the defense for the Rams, man. You went out and got a Jared Verse, probably the best defensive player in this draft. And when I saw that happen, I'm thinking, Donald's gone, but you got Jared Verse who can get to the quarterback. He can be a real pest when it comes to getting to the quarterback, to making plays happen for the Rams. So that was a huge, huge get for them. Real quick, Louis Luna, shout out. He's saying Bears to the Super Bowl. Louis, hey, man. So Louis is the owner of La Cocina Food Truck. So shout out to Louis, man. I appreciate you joining on, Louis. We've got some stuff coming for you, Louis. We're getting you some commercials ready to go here for Sweep the League. Go support La Cocina Food Truck. I know all you guys go to New Braunfels, man. Hit it up. It's a great place. I'm going to be out there hopefully this weekend. So, Louis, we'll be seeing you this weekend if we can make it out there. But the Rams, dude, I mean, I like Kobe Turner. I mean, Ernest Jones. I mean, you've got Jared Verse, Tre'Davious White. I mean, the defense is looking pretty stout for the Rams to go with an offense that was surprisingly good last year.
Well, also
there's no reason why you can't think of him as being one of the top 2 teams in the NFC.
Braden Fisk, right, the teammate of Jared Verse, is kind of a freak of nature. He's athletic. They both play off each other very well. Kudos Les Snead for also getting another defensive line, because obviously the Rams have the pass rush hasn't been there. Aaron's great and all, but outside edges. But you also have Byron Young, right? You go out there and get the safety from the Commanders in the new guy. What's the safety's name? Was it Curley?
Cameron Curl?
Yeah.
Cameron Curl.
So you get Curl there, and really, I can't wait. I think the Rams have a good shot to make a good run. Obviously, look, the 49ers are still there.
Yeah.
We know what they can do. They have some contract stuff that they have to kind of tighten up there.
Well, people might wonder why I don't give the 49ers credit. I do give them a lot of credit, but until they assure me that Brandon Ayuk is going to be there, then I can't really put the 49ers ahead of, you know what? I can't even put the 49ers ahead of maybe like Green Bay. I don't think the 49ers are contenders Super Bowl wise as they have been the past couple of years because of the uncertainty. I mean, you've seen Deebo Samuels go down. You have question marks behind Ayuk. Kittle's not getting any younger. So
they're not. And we've talked about in the past, Rudy, the window of opportunities, right? Like
closing.
I think it's closing on them. It does reopen, right? We saw the Eagles for a few years there, Rudy, kind of going up and down. It's reopened for them, right? They're going to be in the thick of things as well. The window of opportunities tend to close on teams, and then it kind of reopens depending on what happens. I think for the 49ers, it is set to kind of close. They're going to have to retool. But look, you got Shanahan there. The defense, you still got Fred Warner there in the middle, Rudy. You have pieces, Bosa. I think they're going to still be a contender to watch out for there. And the NFC, I mean, look, Rudy, your Falcons. What do you think, Rudy? Can Kirk Cousins turn back time and deliver a Matt Ryan kind of MVP season where the Falcons are on top?
I'm going to say this about the Falcons. They win the division. They will win the NFC South. I have no doubt about that. You know what? What's weird is I think in the NFL mock season, I had them as a 2 seed. I actually had them above the Lions.
I don't think I've ever heard Rudy and Falcons say 2 seed in the same sentence.
I think in that draft. But again, full disclosure, when I did that NFL mock draft season.
Were you drinking?
No. It was during the day. I go game by. What's cool is the website I use goes game by game. So you're thinking, okay, could they win this game? Yeah. And then at the very end, you see what the records are. And you're like, holy cow, the Falcons are, 16-1, it's whatever, something like that. So, I'm not saying they were, but I'm just saying that's how the prediction.
Go back to that mock and take a look at it again.
Yeah, but nonetheless, they're division champs easily in the South. I think they are probably they're tied for being the 5th or 6th best team in that NFC division, in the conference.
So the NFC South only gets one playoff team, you think?
100%. 100%.
Because I think Tampa, I think Baker Mayfield had a really good run last season. He got his contract. We'll see if there's another kind of step in his career. Because just a few years ago, Rudy, Baker Mayfield was in the slumps. And kudos to Sean McVay. He takes them in that stretch of games. We remember that game on a Thursday night against the Raiders where they come back to win, kind of jumpstart his career with the Bucs. I'm not completely sold, though, on the Bucs. Look, I think they're a good team. They made a playoff run there and lost to Detroit. Carolina, I don't know what to make of them yet, Rudy. We got to see Bryce Young kind of take a step. And I don't know if he's going to take 3 steps back or 5 steps forward. So I think Atlanta, the Saints also, I'm not a fan of Dennis Allen there. I think the Falcons, honestly, Rudy, last year, the past 2 seasons, you could have won. You didn't have a quarterback there. You should win this division.
It should be.
Honestly, should win the division. I mean, I don't easily, honestly, should win, but that's why they play the games.
Easily, you should definitely see the Falcons winning the NFC South. Now, I mean, what are we talking? The Rams and Niners are pretty much, I think, locks for the playoffs. The Falcons are going to get in. The Lions and Packers are both locks for the playoffs. And then what are we talking? Who out of the NFC East?
Well, I'm for sure the Eagles. I just think I get a feeling, Rudy, that defense is going to be much improved. Obviously, injuries last season across the board kind of hampered their expectations on that side. But with new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio comes in, Rudy, he's a smash mouth coach. I think that defense, with all that talent, all those Georgia Bulldogs on that side, you got to think that Fangio can get that defense rolling. Sometimes the offense takes a while to kind of get going throughout the season, but I really think the Eagles are going to be the class. The Cowboys, Rudy, that's the team that could really implode. What did they do this offseason, Rudy? I mean, what did they really improve on? Jerry says they're all in, and then Jerry says, well, I'm all in about signing our players. Okay, Jerry, whatever the hell that means. So, Rudy, that's a team, Cowboy Nation, and we know how, how much they're much maligned throughout the season on X or Facebook, whatever social media platform. But that's a team that I could see implode, and maybe it's on purpose. Maybe they want to retool. But what do you think, Rudy, on the Cowboys? What happens to them? Because I think I see a 7-8 win team, honestly.
You really see that? So they're favored in 14 out of 17 games in Vegas this year.
Well, Vegas.
And Vegas knows. We can't lie. Vegas knows.
They do, but I get a feeling, Rudy. Do you honestly think that they win 14 games? No. So what I have them in, I actually put up my mock season right there for you, so you have it on screen. I had them at 10 wins, and that's enough to get them into the playoffs. They're the last playoff team in the NFC. So where Vegas has them favored in 14 games, I think they win 10 games. So I'm around that 10-win mark for them. My biggest thing is you had to shore up the offensive line. The offensive line was the biggest question mark for Cowboys. The biggest question mark. They went out and drafted Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Massive draft choices right there. That made a lot of sense for those guys to draft them. So, honestly, they got to go and get a receiver somewhere. Tolbert is not number 3. He's not a number 3. If they can go get another receiver, they definitely have to try and do something with the running back situation. Ezekiel Elliott is not the answer. Right. Rico Dowdy is not the answer. I don't think it's the answer either. And I think at some point during the season, they're going to sit back and say, I mean, look, was Derrick Henry the answer? We talked about it in the offseason, Rudy. What made sense? Henry, Saquon. I mean, Rudy, even the Zach Moss would have been a pretty good upgrade. Zach Moss with the Colts last year played very well. I thought that could have been a pretty good addition. They don't do anything there. Obviously, there's the draft. Rudy, I don't.
You can't see 10 wins.
Well, that's the thing. Vegas could just be kind of fooling around with us here, but I do not see 14 wins. I see 7 to 8, and I mean the Commanders could even be a better team. Now, obviously, we got to kind of see how the rookie looks and how all that kind of works out. But Rudy, this is a team that the window, they got stars. Obviously, you got Parsons there, you got some other pieces. But Dak Prescott, Rudy, I don't know what to make of this team. Maybe that helps entering the season, right? We don't know what to expect, and maybe they come out slinging. But I expect 7 to 8 wins, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's less than that.
You heard it first, man. 7 to 8 wins for them. So our quick NFC East question, man. I mean, is it possible to see the Giants better than the Cowboys at the end of the season?
Rudy, why did you have to put your boy into this conversation?
I didn't mention his name. Name.
Well, Rudy, listen, the Giants, what we saw last year, I know they beat the Eagles, whatever that meant at the end of the season, but I don't expect much from the Giants. I just really don't.
They had a good season. They had a bad season. I mean,
Rudy, to me, I thought that was very flukish because
it seems like it.
You bring this, and I think a lot of Brian Daboll. I actually think he's a really good play caller. I just think his quarterback is. I mean, Rudy Jones is that year he had 15 touchdowns. I mean, come on, it wasn't. It was the Saquon Barkley show, and that was it. Now you look at the Giants. I like what they did, with the first pick with that receiver. But can we get in the ball? Is offensive line going to hold up?
The offensive line should be good this year. It should. I mean, they have Runyon, Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas, now
Georgia,
John Michael Schmitz Jr. I mean, the offensive line should be able to hold up and protect Daniel Jones this season. There's no doubt in my mind that offensive line should hold up.
Rudy, haven't we seen this? I will say the offensive line should. This should be the year, Rudy, they can put it all together. Andrew Thomas from Georgia, obviously, and he was hurt a little bit last year, not as healthy. Look, I don't know, the Giants, it's Daniel Jones to me. And if they have Kirk Cousins, Rudy, I say, you know what? Okay.
If they have Kirk Cousins, yeah, I'd give them maybe 11 wins.
If Matthew Stafford's there, okay, I could see something. But Rudy, they have Daniel Jones, and that's it. And they're stuck with him.
Man, we gotta go to this question here because they're asking about your boy Caleb Williams. Tim Gonzalez, Louis saying minimum. Hopefully he gets Rookie of the Year. I've been on the Caleb Williams is overhyped, overrated bandwagon.
No. Say the hate train, Rudy. That's the correct phrase to say. The hate train.
I cannot say hate train for Caleb Williams because I don't want to see a player not succeed at the pro level. But a lot of it is predictable. And everything points to the prediction of Caleb Williams not being that guy. I was nice. I gave him 6 wins just because of everybody around Caleb Williams.
Well, I mean, look.
They've got playmakers.
They got Swift. You got DJ Moore, Keaton Allen, Rome at the other receiver spot, Cole Clement. I mean, really, their offensive line.
And their offensive line is not bad. I will say that.
And their defense at times played pretty well last season. So
yeah.
I got to think of I think 6 wins, though, is, man, I got to see what they look like. I don't know what to expect. They got talent, right? Now, Shane Waldron's the offensive coordinator, comes over from Seattle. What is that offense going to look like? Does it look like a Seattle Pete Carroll type of offense where they're going to want to run the ball, get guys down the field? I don't know what to expect, and that's what predictions are made for. Rudy, if Caleb is as good as I think he can be, especially with this offense, I'm going to go with 8 or 9 wins this season. 8
or 9 wins. That's, man. I can see 8 as being the ceiling. Again, it's because the talent around him. Okay, I'm going to give you my quick assessment because, again, seeing stuff out of OTAs come out has just been daunting.
Well, Rudy, they won 7 games last year. You don't think they're better than last season?
They are better than last season by the talent surrounding Caleb Williams. Does he make them a better team? No, he does not make them a better team. Are you
saying that Justin Fields, the man who I saw a clip of who was doing running back drills,
yes,
is better than
yes.
Caleb
I'm not
Williams?
even gonna let you finish. Yes.
That's a 9, that's a 12, that's 11. That's ridiculous.
No, bull. Because if you give Justin Fields the talent that you're giving Caleb Williams, you mean to tell me that the Bears are not capable of winning that division?
Rudy, and listen, I think the world of Fields. Unfortunately, Georgia let him go, and I don't even want to talk about that. But anyway, he goes to Ohio State, he balls out, goes to the NFL. Rudy, if he's that guy, right? If he's he's not Joe Burrow, but I'm just saying if he's that franchise quarterback, don't you think they would have kept him? Don't you think they would have continued to build around him? If they honestly believe this is my guy, I'm going to continue with him. Rudy, I don't see it.
Okay, so let me reverse the question. If he's that guy, don't you put players around him in order for you to succeed? You're giving the guy Tariq Cohen, but you're giving Caleb Williams DeAndre Swift.
Come on.
You're giving
Tariq Cohen's been hurt, Rudy. I don't think he's even touched the field, but they did have some pretty good backs. Montgomery was back there. They also had Herbert.
Montgomery was one, and Khalil Herbert, okay. But is Khalil Herbert DeAndre Swift? No, he's not. And then you mean to tell me that we're going to give you one receiver in DJ Moore, who's a legit one?
Well, they also had Chase Claypool, but I guess.
Well, okay, give me Chase Claypool. Are you serious, man?
I'm just adding his name out there. He was on the team, I think.
You couldn't make that guy look good in Madden. I mean, that's how bad Chase Claypool is.
I get what you're saying. If they honestly thought that Justin was that guy, maybe they would have put more talent around him. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, to me, I think Caleb is better. And we're going to see this season what happens. Now, I'm not going to put excuses if he has a bad first year. Hey, so did Peyton Manning have a terrible first year?
I get it. No rookie comes into the league and shines their first year unless you're CJ Stroud. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes took a backseat for a while. It takes time for the quarterbacks.
It takes time. The game is faster. There's so many things that goes into being a quarterback. I know Caleb has a personality that definitely rubs Rudy the wrong way. And at certain times me as well. He's his own man, right? He paints his nails. He was wearing that dress on TV. Whatever the case may be, hey, I don't care. As long as if in Chicago, I used to live there, Rudy, if in Chicago he does what he's supposed to do, the Bears fans are going to love him no matter what. They're dying for, Rudy, they are dying.
Please.
Some of them would probably give their testicle if Caleb Williams could do something. And I think he will, and I think he's the man. They got Rudy, that receiving core, you can't lie, Rudy. That's going to be a really good one.
Again, this is the part that bothers me. It goes back to the Falcons picking Michael Penix at 8. And you know what? Good buddy of mine, good buddy of the show, James Pledger, he convinced me, and he tried convincing me, and he kind of did that, drafting Penix, because if you like your guy and you like that quarterback, you go get him. You know what? If he sits, he sits. Okay, let's play devil's advocate then on this. You have Justin Fields. You're bringing in this type of talent to Chicago. Why not at the number 1 pick, you go and draft Caleb Williams, but you keep Justin Fields? Give Fields the year. You know what, Caleb? We want to draft you, but you're going to have to probably sit a year or 2 until you get acclimated to the pro game. Why didn't they do that? Because Caleb Williams is a big effing baby. That's why we don't want to hit.
Rudy,
no,
stop.
We don't want to hurt the princess's feelings here, because
Rudy.
Why?
No.
Why? He wants to start day 1. That's
Rudy,
why.
but all quarterbacks are starting day 1.
No, they're not.
Within the last 5. Trevor Lawrence started. He's a first pick.
But you're
Trevor
saying
Lawrence.
You said all quarterbacks.
Okay, quarterbacks that have been drafted high are normally starting, Rudy. Are normally, at least within this last, okay, there's obviously cases where they're not, but Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield,
Justin Herbert. We'll give you Justin
Herbert, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones. These guys are all starting. You can't tell me that Caleb Williams is not better than your boy, Danny Dimes in New York.
Oh, he is. He is. I'll tell you what.
Rudy,
he is.
He has to put. Now, Atlanta, listen.
In college, maybe.
Rudy,
I haven't seen anything in Caleb Williams in the pro. He may put up Danny Dime numbers for all we know.
Rudy, I find it hard to believe that Caleb's going to throw 15 touchdowns this season. I find it very hard to believe that's. But anyway, Rudy, look.
You going over or under?
Oh, it's over, because he's definitely going to get some on the ground too. But I don't know if we're including that as well. But
passing touchdowns. Give me an over and under on passing only. Screw the run.
He's going over 20.
20.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we put the over under at 24?
I'll go 22.
So you'll take under 24. I think he hits right at the 20 mark at the most. At the most, passing.
Rudy, this talent. If the O-line don't hold up, he's in trouble. But
don't start making excuses now.
No, I'm not making excuses. All I'm saying is that he has the talent. He has. The defense is going to be good, pretty solid. So he has everything there. He just has to go out there and play ball. Look, at USC, which, by the way, that defense at USC is absolutely atrocious. What he had to deal with every week being down by 20 or 30 points because his defense can't can't get him out of nothing. So
okay,
I'm excited. I will say this: the Rams are going to be in Chicago. I think within the first 4 weeks. That's going to be exciting to head over there to see Caleb up close and personal. I hope he doesn't beat the Rams, obviously. But look, I'm pulling for him.
He's not.
And they got the receivers there. I can't wait, Rudy, for next season to see what happens. And I also can't wait for college football as well.
Oh, everybody's pumped for college football. I'm sure you're Duke.
Hey, no more Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
no more Saban. No more Saban. But you do have the Longhorns coming in. So that's going to be something.
Rudy, they better not go. I don't know. Haven't looked at your schedule. They better not go to Vanderbilt and lose.
Jesus Christ, man. Hey, so when we get back, we're going to talk a little more football here with Coach Gio. Of course, it is Sweep the League. Rudy Campos, Gio here. We're going to talk football. We've got some basketball talk that we're going to get into. This is the afternoon delight version of Sweep the League. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to share the link here in just a little bit for you guys. I'll put it in the chat for all you guys out there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers. Again, shout out to all of the people that are sponsoring us here. All of our partners, man. We got La Cocina Food Truck, Mudslingers, Burger Boy Lids, Special Leaf Tea, MCS General Contracting. Are you a USOA member, Gio? Because if you're not, I need to get you to become a USOA member. I'm going to see if I can get you a T-shirt for that. That's going to package that. Rudy? I'll have to tell you off the air. It's definitely an off the air type thing. So we'll be back here just a little bit of this week. The League, Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Gio.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League. Subscribe and share.
Rudy Campos Jr. here from Sweep the League. Hey, make sure you go and follow Sherilyn on Instagram. Just search official Sherilyn on Instagram.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
It is Sweep the League. Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr., NFL coverage back on right now. So Gio's trying to convince me that Caleb Williams is going to get at least 24 touchdown passes.
I say 22.
22. I'm sorry. We had the over-under at 24. He's going with 22. I'm going with max 20 through the air. Give him a couple on the ground here. But
it'd be funny if he gets 30.
Oh, my God, if it does. But he's going to have to probably get 28, 29 interceptions to go along with that, 30 touchdown passes. The game's going to be so fast for this kid, man. It's not even funny, Gio. It's terrible. But going to the point that I was trying to make a little while ago is, the Bears are in a prime position if you draft Caleb, but you keep Justin and you allow Caleb to develop. I feel more comfortable with Caleb Williams being a pro if that happens.
Rudy, listen, the Bears don't want instant, or they don't want grits that take 5 minutes. They need something instant. It needs to happen now. He needs to start day one.
Rush it, bro.
Listen, the whole Penix thing, I think the Falcons are wrong. I know Penix does not want to wait. Mm. He doesn't want to wait. He wants to go out there and play.
He's going to have to.
Well, not if Kirk Cousins doesn't stick up the joint, which is very possible too, because I don't know.
What's more likely, Cousins getting injured or Kirk Cousins stinking up the joint?
Both of them are pretty likely. I don't know. Look, I think if you look at Penix, and we can agree, Rudy, his arm, he can dart it, he can sling it, he can make a lot of throws. Imagine Kurt plays 3 or 4 years with the Falcons. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. For Penix's sake, I know he's not happy about it. I can almost guarantee that, to sit behind someone and honestly probably hope he doesn't play well or potentially get hurt. I mean, that's how you're going to be able to get in, because if Kurt's making the playoffs but not doing anything, the Falcons might just keep Kirk Cousins just because he's doing, again, what he did in Minnesota, the bare minimum.
I honestly, the whole thing, like I said, you could have drafted Penix or a quarterback by trading down. If your whole intention was to get a QB, again,
why did they draft Rome? They could have got Rome there at that spot, Rudy.
I don't know. I mean, my two guys were, well, there was three guys in mind. It was Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, Quinion Mitchell. Those are the three guys that I wanted. And then seeing Penix, I'm like everybody, everybody's mouth dropped. I took time to evaluate it. I took time to let it sink in. And there's times I convinced myself it was a great pick for them. But then there's other times I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, you still had the option of trading down and getting another quarterback with more draft picks. I mean, it was mind blowing, dude. I mean, there's no reason to take him at 8.
And it looked like the owner, Arthur Blank, looked confused. Like
he had a blank look on his face.
And people were saying, no, Arthur Blank had to sign off. And look, ESPN probably did a good job of just making it maybe look something a certain way. But Rudy, you could have gone. I mean, just so many good players in this draft, and you draft someone that can't help you right away. I mean, just imagine Rome there, right, with London and Kyle Pitts. I thought that would have been a good way to help your quarterback. Instead, you go get another quarterback who can't help you anytime soon. Sure, he can help you on the scout team, but that's right about it.
And that's where I'm confused is how when I talked to Pledge on the phone the other day, and he, he was trying to convince me, and he, like I said, he kind of did a little bit about the whole, you go and get your guy when you have the opportunity. You don't want to let him pass by. But I'm thinking, there's no way you would have passed him on. Like the Broncos were set on Knicks. Let's be honest. They were set on both Knicks.
That's what it looks like. I do think someone probably would have drafted Penix, Rudy. I don't remember if the Vikings were. Well,
JJ McCarthy
was okay. Well, so I mean, it's possible someone could have traded up to go get him, but I just disagree. I get it. You want your long-term solution, but if that long-term solution is in 3 years, he takes his first snap. Entering his 4th year, and then you might not know what he has, right? He could be rusty, could be a Jordan Love thing. I mean, look, though Jordan Love's played well, right? Like he's kind of bounced back, and he has looks like a franchise quarterback for the Packers. We'll see the next step that he takes next season. The Falcons, so many other players, really, and you get a quarterback that can't help you right now, who can't help Raheem Morris. I mean, imagine Jared Verse on that defense with some of the guys you already have there, the teaming up. You could have went offensive. I mean, really, there were so many other things that you could have done. And you get someone that can't even help you. Typical Falcons.
Typical Falcons. Dirty birds have done me wrong again. Oh, yeah. It is what it is, man. I can't fathom on it too much more. I can't let it get to my head. Chris Leha's in here. Shout out to Chris Leha, man. Appreciate you joining on. Appreciate the support you give us. MCS General Contracting, man. Definitely hit them up. If you got any concrete pouring, slabs, whatever you need, hit them up. They do it the right way. And he's also the man when it comes to the USOA, Gio. So shout out to them, the USOA group. I'm going to make you a member if I can. I'm going to talk to those guys, make you a member, get you a T-shirt. Again, I'll tell you off air what it is.
I just Googled it, Rudy.
Okay, there you go. So we're going to try to get you a
underwear. For a second, I thought it was like a retirement or some sort of like.
Oh man, no, man. I'm probably the oldest member.
Something like that. But I said, hey, a quick thing I want to say is rest in peace, Bill Walton. I know he died a few days ago, but I wanted to share something. Bill Walton, Rudy, if not for the injuries, and I know we're not talking about the NBA, but if not for the injuries, I'm thinking Bill would have been a top 10 center all time, certain. And then obviously, is he a top 5? Obviously, championships and other things. But shout out to Bill Walton and his family. Rest in peace. One of the most interesting individuals, Rudy, on air. He said a lot of things. He talked trash to Shaq. Shaq even said the other day, hey, you know what? I needed that. I needed Bill Walton to talk to me like that because He knew what it took to get to that level as well. So rest in peace, Bill Walton. You're missed, a true ambassador of the game. But you know who's not an ambassador of the game, Rudy? Glenn Big Baby Davis, who stole money from the NBA and is going to prison. That, my friends, is not an ambassador.
That's not an ambassador?
No. We could talk about that another day. But rest in peace, Bill. We'll definitely miss you. And, man, I love this commentary. And also him and Steve Snapper Jones on NBC were a joy to watch growing up.
I remember that. It was Steve Snapper Jones and Bill Walton. Was it Mike Breen?
No, they had what's his name? He would say, "Oh
Jim
my."
Gray?
No, he would say, "Oh my." He also did NFL games as well. He passed away a few years ago. Forgot his name, but that whole crew and Rudy, NBC. Speaking of NBC,
hold on before you get into it. Let's do our NBA bump here because we're going to talk some NBA now. And I'm corrected. That's the official title of Leha of the USOA. He's the tribal chief. So acknowledge your tribal chief, Gio, 100%. So that's who Leha is there. Yeah, the NBC deal, we got to talk about that, the NBA here, last segment here at Sweep the League. But a quick thing with Bill Walton. I told this story on Locked On Spurs the other day. And I don't tell tall tales. I don't tell stories, made up stories or any bullshit like that. So when I was a coach for what they have here in San Antonio, the Spurs Drug-Free League, and I was a coach for that league, they had a clinic for coaches that was mandatory to attend, and it was over at the Boys and Girls Club. I want to say the Calderon Gym. It was Mike Green. The Calderon Gym. And the Spurs had a thing. They had a special visitor. The coach that was doing the clinic was Coach Joe Prutney, who obviously was a Spurs assistant at the time. He's been an assistant with the Bucks. Definitely one of the better coaches in the NBA. The special guest was Bill Walton, who was in town. And I got to meet Bill Walton there. And at the end of the coaching session, we were able to talk to Bill, if you want to get his autograph, get a picture, whatever. I didn't get anything like that. I talked to him. I said, I have a question for you. He says, what's going on? In typical Bill fashion, he gives you that smile that he had. It's kind of like, I don't know if I'm high or not type of smile. But I said, I've got a question. What advice do you have somebody that wants to get to the highest level of coaching, whether it be NBA, college? I mean, hell, if high school is the level you can get to, so be it. What advice do you have? And I remember he put his big old monster hand, because Bill had a massive, palm, puts it on my shoulder. He says, best advice I can give you is go buy some plaid pants, go get a suit, shave your head, and call yourself Jack Ramsey. And he gives me that smile. And I'm like, as an answer like that, it only, like you said, Bill Walton fashion can give, man. I truly miss his commentary. It was just great. So yes, definitely rest in peace, Bill Walton, man, for sure. But you brought up the NBA on NBC coming back, man, the end of an era when it comes to TNT. And of course, inside the NBA, what do you think about NBA on NBC now? They're going to do a whole spick and spiel on that kind of thing. And Rudy is him. What is up, Sith? I appreciate you joining on, man. Much love.
I think it's about time, Rudy. We grew up on NBA on NBC up until I think the contract ended in 2003, I believe, or 2002. Would have loved to see those other Spurs, because I always felt like ABC, Rudy, just wasn't NBC. They didn't have the story. Do you remember those old storylines before the games? Yeah. The old featurettes. It was so cool to watch, and you could feel like, man, like this is a big series, right? Like you got all this thing going on, and then the commentators, of course. But Rudy, I think it's going to be big. John Tesh, who made the song, he has already been contacted by the NBC. So we know that song's coming back. It's probably going to be a little bit more modern. Potentially.
He was on a podcast recently. He said that they've asked him to modernize it. Yeah. So he's going to revise it a little bit here. Dick Enberg, that's the guy we were talking about.
That's the one that said, oh my, Dick Enberg, who was another great legend as well in the commentary. But yeah, Rudy, I think it's going to be huge. What type of teams do they have? Obviously back in the day, they had Costas, they had Hannah Storm, they had Isaiah Thomas was on there. It was so many great people on there talking, and it was such a good, the storylines, right? Like that's what we missed.
Rashad, right? Was part of it?
Ahmad Rashad was on there. They also had the writer from New York. I forgot his name. Peter Vesey. So there's so many of those individuals. Be interested to see how it is now. But Rudy, I'm okay with the change. Of course, I would hate to lose inside the NBA. I mean, Rudy, that has been also another part of our kind of upbringing, right? Watching Ernie and Shaq and Charles. Would love to see them. Amazon's going to be also in the mix as well. You can't leave them out nowadays. They're always into everything.
I hope they fix that stream, because the NFL streaming service on Amazon, it sucked bad.
I mean, the thing is, I take it for what it is. I don't really. I definitely did hear the criticism throughout the year of, hey, it's just not working out. But the NBA on NBC, I mean, Rita, I can't wait to hear that song. I'm interested if they're going to have. Right, so
I wish we could play it on the show, but YouTube ties us by the nutsack every time we try to do something.
That'd be a good idea, Rudy. We're gonna get strike already. So no, but look, I think it's great. Sucks that we're gonna probably lose TNT. That's what it sounds like. But but as Locked On Spurs, Jeff Garcia said, "Hey, how devastating it is for TNT to lose the NBA." I think it's huge because Charles Barkley, right? Shaq, of course, Ernie, who's been Ernie Johnson's been there forever. His dad works for TNT as well. Just so much history. Georgia Bulldog. So
he's one of the faces of Turner. I mean, I would definitely say that about Ernie Johnson.
One of the faces of Turner. Turner did also have WCW. Remember those days with that kind of big time. But no, it's tough loss. I think it's going to be it's going to be weird. Just seeing all those guys not potentially there anymore.
At the same time, I'm not upset about a change either. I know, to me, the devastating part is inside the NBA. A lot of people love that show, but they also hate the show because, Spurs fans have something against, Charles Barkley. And
I thought it was funny all those years.
To me, it's hilarious. The Barkley comments are hilarious. I love them. I love that. But what's going to be more devastating for me, and this goes out to Jeff on Locked On Spurs, is the fact that you don't get Ernie Johnson. I respect the hell out of Ernie Johnson. He's one of the guys that I looked up to, trying to do media broadcasting and all. Ernie Johnson is one of those guys, man. And that's who, I looked up to him. I love Ernie Johnson. To know that he's not going to be a part of the NBA for as far as we know, because who knows? I mean,
well, he still does baseball games, right? So,
he's
probably still going to be on the network. We're going to see him definitely during playoff time, and not sure if he'll do hockey, but it is going to be strange.
NCAA, they do March Madness stuff.
They do March Madness. Well, Charles,
and they got the football. NCAA football, I believe, is going to Turner now. So
yes, there'll be some of that as well. I would have loved next season, Rudy, if TNT can, because I think they still have one more year, right? Before it.
I haven't really looked into any of the.
If it is one more year, right? I would love to see TNT do an NBA Finals, Rudy. I think that would be a nice kind of, let go moment there. But NBC, man, I can't wait to see what they do there and kind of hopefully bring back some of the nostalgia.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Ernie is top tier, arguably the best in the game. Definitely, Ernie Johnson is one of the best in the game. Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Gio, we're here talking. We talked about NFL. We're talking some NBA on NBC now instead of on TNT. Man, Spurs draft's coming up here. Everybody's pointing at trading, those picks, 4 and 8 for the Spurs coming up here. So ESPN just released the latest mock draft, and the latest mock draft has ESPN picking two guys that I've been talking about and two guys that I mentioned on Locked On Spurs recently. Right now, they've got them drafting Stephon Castle at number 4. And lo and behold, they have number 8. They're drafting Tijan Saloon, power forward out of France. So those two guys are being mocked to the San Antonio Spurs on the latest ESPN mock draft that was posted there. So Saloon at 8, Castle at 4, two guys that I've been talking highly about for the San Antonio Spurs. First and foremost, man, we haven't talked to you about Spurs draft picks. Are you keeping them or trading them?
I don't really love this draft, Rudy.
Nobody does. This is a horrible draft. Horrible.
Honestly, just package it and see what you can get.
Like, if you're a smart GM, are you really trading a star for anything in this draft? Probably not.
No, but we've talked about throughout the season, can Spurs package a few players, add that in there as kind of a sweet spot, Rudy, and try to potentially. I would try, Rudy. If I'm Spurs management, I'm trying. And obviously, if you can't, obviously, we're going to go with what's best available. But I honestly think you trade it, Rudy. What's the point? You already have your generational player back there, and we talked about it. Mm-hmm. He needs to get help, Rudy. And I know we've kind of went back and forth on should the Spurs wait another year to really invest and this and that. Look, I'm about now and package that, see what you can get. If not, it's potentially, Rudy, you could find a star. There could be a star here somewhere, Rudy.
Well, Stephon Castle is my number 1 ranked prospect going into the draft. And I've said that with the right development, I mean, he could easily be a SGA type of player, which turns into a star. I mean, SGA was MVP candidate, should have been the MVP this past season. I mean, 100% he should have been. But
he's a special.
Yes. I mean, Stephon Castle could be that kind of player. I think his development, if done the right way, can lead him into that kind of career. But outside of that, I mean, you're not going to get an instant impact. And I think majority of people out there want them to trade these picks. But that's the question that I asked a little while ago was, if you stop and think, good GMs out there, who are you trading the picks for? I mean, if I'm a GM and you're the GM, you're Brian Wright, Gio, and you're calling me saying, hey, let's talk about Donovan Mitchell. Okay, let's talk Mitchell. What can you offer me? Well, we're going to give you both picks this year. I'm like, no. Well, we'll throw in Keldon Johnson. No, not really.
How about Vassell with the 2 picks?
I'm still kind of hearing and hawing about Vassell and the 2 picks. Why? Because I want next year's picks. I want something for next year's draft. Now, if you want to give me your pick next year, knowing that Donovan Mitchell is going to take you probably out of the lottery, I don't mind taking that, 19, 20, 21 pick for the Spurs at the number 19, 20, 21. I don't mind that at all because it doesn't matter. The 2025 draft is ridiculously loaded. I can find a player there. So giving me 2 this year, 1 next year, 1 in following years, and a Vassell, then I'm talking. But if you're just offering me 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, I'm probably hanging up the phone pretty quick. And that's on majority of the star players out there.
Yeah, I just, from looking at this list and what I've been seeing, it's just nothing special. But obviously, there could be a diamond in the rough. The Spurs can get a star potentially in this draft. But as you said, Rudy, it is going to be difficult. Like, you call up I was about to say the Atlanta Falcons, but the Atlanta Hawks, Rudy, Trae Young, right? Like, I don't think Atlanta's going to do that. It's going to be difficult, as you said, to trade. But if I'm the Spurs, you try it and you put your all into it because, again, Rudy, I know you don't like the word generational, but you do have this generational unicorn, whatever you want to call him, the alien now, right? Like, you got to get him help. And I think try to, if they can, they probably won't be able to, but if you get 2 young players, Rudy, potentially, they could potentially work out and be part of the system.
Yeah, I still don't buy the whole fact of everybody feels like Victor's going to leave if they don't get him anything this offseason. I think he understands it's a process. It's going to take a couple of years.
Well,
years.
Trust the process, right? As Joel Embiid used to say.
Joel Embiid, yeah, but that process sucks. We're talking Markelle Fultz, and you're talking Who was the other one? Ben Simmons. I mean, that's bad. If you ain't making calls and aren't trying to set up deals, you just want to suck again. And next year's draftees aren't guaranteed. Fuck tanking. Yeah. I mean, honestly, every draft, it's a risk. I don't care if you're drafting LeBron James, if you're drafting Michael Olowokandi. I mean, it's a risk no matter who you're taking at any pick. I mean, Cleveland drafted LeBron. You saw what he did there. Oh, yeah, instant playoff team, made it to the finals, couldn't get it done, so he bolted. I mean, those are risks that you take when every draft comes up. But the other problem, too, is I want to get to this real quick. The thing with the picks, you try to get what you can for them. If you have to draft, you have to draft. If you don't, and you're able to trade them away. Look at guys like Lauri Markkanen. The Jazz might be willing to take both 4 and 8 for Lauri Markkanen. That's a potential type of deal right there. But anything above an all-star type of caliber player, it's going to be difficult to just give away 4 and 8 and expect something in return. That's why superstar or, multi-time all-star. But a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who I've been, glowing about recently, he's one that I think if the Spurs were to contact him, offering them 4, 8, and Keldon, that might be something the Jazz might be interested in. I want to get into this Locked On Spurs comment here. Shout out to Jeff Garcia here. Speaking of outlets, what do y'all think about Stephen A. Smith getting heat recently for his alleged source on Jaylen Brown, media calling not being a member of the media and an entertainer? So that whole Stephen A. Smith with Jaylen Brown thing. I mean, I saw Isaiah Thomas, Zeke, the real Isaiah Thomas, comment back and forth with Stephen A. about that. And, I get you don't want to put stuff out there and then you claim source after source. I have a source. I can't release my source. I can't say this. I can't say that. I get media guys don't want to, give away their sources. I've seen people, even local people, that use the same type of thing. I'm not giving up my source. I'm not giving up my source. And I totally agree with that. You don't have to. But if you're going to be critical about that player, you got to have a leg to stand on. Especially if you're getting pushback on something that I feel you deserve to get pushback on. Now, being called an entertainer, I think we are all entertainers, no matter what anybody says. We're all here talking sports. We all are here to entertain everybody. But I do feel that him being a member of the media, I can't talk on that because I have as much credentials as he probably has, when it comes to talking sports.
Rudy, I read the comments. Do you think he's, I don't want to say not marketable, or do you think
reputable?
Yeah, like it, or no, from Brown's perspective, like on the comments that Stephen A. had made, like, do you think there's truth to it though? Like, what's the vibe that you're getting?
So for everybody out there, go ahead and repeat the comment, just not verbatim, but give everybody the idea out there what the comment was from Stephen A. Smith to Jaylen Brown, or about Jaylen Brown. It was about being marketable, is what it was, basically. So my thing is, okay, is Jaylen Brown marketable? No, not in Boston. On another team where he doesn't have Jason Tatum, probably so. He is marketable. But how are you one to call a player not marketable, and not that, an all-star caliber player not marketable? I mean, is it his fault? I don't think so. He's got an agency. He's got a team in the Celtics that could market him. I mean, what makes a person not marketable?
I will say this. When I read that, I've always gotten kind of watching Brown play. I've seen him in person as well. I think I get some of the vibe what Stephen A. is trying to say. And listen, I'm not part of the media, Brady. I've never claimed to be. I don't have any sources. Just from watching from afar, watching up close, and watching, I could see his kind of demeanor rubbing off and not necessarily being a guy that, I wouldn't say obviously overrated because he's a really good player. But the vibe that I get from him is he's better than you, and which he probably is. I don't know, Rudy. I'm just throwing it out there. I do get a vibe from Jalen that I don't know if I would always want to be his teammate. I don't know. And I could be out of a limb here. I could be way out of line. But that's just a vibe that I get from watching him play and also some of his interviews that he's done. I think there's some truth to Stephen A, but obviously, look, Stephen A, go ahead and name your source if you want to. He's obviously not going to do that, Rudy. But I see some truth. But look, is he marketable, Rudy? If he's in San Antonio, does he get marketable, you think? Do you think he is? Yeah, so obviously it's also the market as well. Small town, they're going to really, really lift you up. Boston's a brand, right? Like it's a legit Celtics. It's very well known, and maybe they don't need to really push him. But if he's in San Antonio, Oklahoma City, like
there's certain teams that you're going to see his face on billboards. You're going to see his face on sides of buildings. I mean, he's going to be in
someone who has been to Seattle. They love their sports teams there already. There's no doubt in my mind that Seattle would lift him up. It's also just the market itself. So I get what Stephen A is saying. The vibe I get from him is, I am better than you, and what are you going to do about it? Like I don't know. It's kind of a weird, strange vibe I get from him. But
that's the Stephen A vibe, or are you talking about Jaylen Brown?
The vibe I get from Jaylen Brown.
See, I get that from Stephen A.
Yeah.
I get the vibe from Stephen A. Like, I'm Stephen A. Smith. Who the F are you? You know, you're nobody. And there's, and look, I won't disagree with you on that. I just think there's some truth there, Rudy. And look, some of these players are divas, Rudy. I mean, look, they're in entertainment. Mm-hmm. They're divas. We see this at the wide receiver position. We see A.J. Brown yelling every week at Jalen Hurts, why am I not getting the ball? We see Antonio Brown, right? We saw what I don't know if you follow him, Rudy, on X, but he is a crazy individual in there. So look, these players are also divas as well. They have a lot of pride. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, is who he is, and Stephen A., who cares? Why was he even reporting this anyway? Like, does it really matter? No, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just something that he wanted to say. So that goes to my last point of the whole Stephen A. Smith thing was, you don't have to name your source. But if you're like me, like you, we don't have sources. We're not part of the media. Sometimes the best source is just common sense and just by what you see with your own eyes. And that's kind of what I use. We don't have to name your source, but I feel that his source is his own mind. That's something that Stephen A. wanted to just say from his own heart. And it came out, and he's using the source because if people like it, okay, cool. If people don't like it, well, it's not my fault. That came from the source. It's the same type of shit that we see on social media. You have, a lot of, and it goes for Stephen Smith, a lot of people, man, you say stuff on social media, you're a big dog behind a keyboard. But when it comes to actual person-to-person type stuff, are you going to have that same kind of energy in person?
I think, Rudy, what a lot of happens in the media is everybody wants to be first, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be first. They want that first. And a lot of times, and you've seen on X, it's a bunch of bull. How much stuff do we see, Rudy, on there? My sources say this and this and that. Look, my sources say Kawhi staying in Toronto. Overnight, Rudy, what does Kawhi do? He's a Clipper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's everybody wants to be first. Everybody is going to throw as much shit against the wall to see what sticks. Eventually, when you throw enough bags of crap on the wall,
sometimes you're right.
Something's going to stick. If you throw a lot of bags of crap on the wall, something's going to stick. So I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, even locally. I don't, they do their thing and, they say what they want to say. I can care less. But me, it's not about being first. It's about being right. Yeah. And that's what I do. And that's what we all do here at Sweep the League. We would rather be right than be first, because there's no point in trying to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. It doesn't make any difference. Your boy, Darren Waller, man. We're going to end with this here. Your boy, Darren Waller. And I didn't even get to ask you the question. I need to ask you that question. Darren Waller, man card revoked. Locked On Spurs wants to know, making a video about a breakup with Kelsey Plum. That was bad.
I didn't love it. I heard most of it.
We've all gone through heartache, bro. We've all gone through heartache.
Also, that auto-tune just, what was that? It was like out of a nightmare. And listen, I think Darren Waller, if not for the injuries, may have had a better career. Yes, thank you. Lord, why? Now, Kelsey did come out. I don't know if it was a month ago. She had posted a screenshot about something she posted saying that the truth will be told one day. And Darren has had.
She drops a song about it, though.
Darren's had some of his demons in the past. We won't talk about it here. But look, I don't know what happened, like really happened, obviously. And I've heard people say potentially maybe he hit her or this or that. Whatever the case may be, bro, just don't, man. I
like that comment more.
Just don't. And then they just get married. I feel like they just got married.
They did. I think they did just get married, man.
Just got married. And hey, sometimes things don't work out. We know how it is, right, with these celebrities. You know, 1 minute you love them, the next minute you're getting a divorce. So I really didn't. It was not a good scene. And X, I still want to call it Twitter, was really having a field day with the comments.
Oh, we're having a blast with the comments, man. Before we go, sweep the league, man. Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Gio. We're going to be joining you every single day, just about during the week. We're going to make time for all you guys out there. We're back 100%. We're on our own network on YouTube. Sweep the league. I'll share the link out for everybody. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Also, we're a part of the Sports Insanity Network. Gio, we're getting love up north, man. The New York area, all north, we're getting love. Sports Insanity Network, they're helping us grow big time up there. So we can easily say we are damn near global like we used to be, man. We're going everywhere. We're going viral.
Big shout out. I'm originally from New York, Rudy. I know you always say that I'm from somewhere else, but I am from New York. So
Florida. You're from the Florida.
I did spend most of my life though in Florida. And also Chicago and also other areas. But look, shout out to them as well. We're definitely going to try to grow this out and share it. Comments. I know Tim Gonzalez is going to be in there.
Oh,
best believe Tim will be there rocking his Duke gear, commenting all over.
I would have had Kendrick Lamar help me cook an X. Yeah, that would have been.
Dude, speaking of Kendrick, man, that's a bad. That's a bad man right there with lyrics. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe I'll give up Eminem a call, see if he can help me out, with some kind of drops or something with a disc.
Did Eminem come out with a song? Someone said it was terrible. I haven't listened to it, so I don't know.
I heard a little bit of it. I'm not impressed, but I'm not disappointed. Put it that way. I need to hear it again.
He's been out the game. I mean, cut him some slack, y'all.
You got a minute. I got to ask you this because I want to know what in the hell. We're going to end the show here. We got to end the show because we're way over on the show here, but what in the hell is with you posting stories? And when I click them, all I see is my 600-pound life. And I hear you laughing in the background.
Dude,
what is your problem?
Listen, I love that show. If anyone hasn't seen the show, go watch it. I do feel bad for these people, Rudy, because a lot of them can't move. They're always married, though, which is also very interesting. It's just a funny show. There's certain clips that just have me dying to this day. I can watch it, the same episode, and still laugh. But it's just a funny show that I like, and it's just, I don't know. It is kind of a weird obsession of mine. I do use that, though, Rudy, as inspiration to tell myself, Gio, don't you ever get like that.
You and I have been on a massive weight loss journey in the past few years. I need to find the pictures of the old days.
Well, Rudy, we got a ton of photos.
Yeah, we were really big guys, and we've been on this whole massive weight loss journey. So, shout out, man! I had to ask you because I started seeing all that stuff being posted. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? Now all I see is my 600-pound life, and I hear him. I just can't stop eating. I hear in the background, like, what is he doing?
So
man?
That one clip where he said, "I'll stop eating," and then the next 10 minutes, I'll go back and I eat again, and I don't know what happened. I was just so funny. Funny when they ordered 2 large pizzas as a snack. No, it is. It's hilarious, and the Dr. Nazarian, who's on the TLC, he's hilarious too. I mean, some of the things
he's the guy.
Well, no, I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to it, Rudy. I've been hearing him for like the last decade in my ear, and he's hilarious. He's funny, but he does try to help these people. And Rudy, these people are eating. Look. 5, 10, 15,000 calories a day. It's insane the amount of money that they're using on food. A lot of it is government assistance. I'm like, man, can the government help me out?
Can they at least make healthy food cheaper? I mean, Jesus Christ, to lose weight.
I do get annoyed is I'll sit down for an hour and watch a new episode, and the person doesn't lose any weight. I'm thinking to myself, I just wasted a whole hour, and you haven't lost any weight and didn't get the damn surgery. But look, if you had
to talk more about it,
Jeff Garcia, go watch it, man. You're gonna have a good laugh. Some pretty funny stuff on there.
I did claim it's water weight. I know, man. It all seems to go that way. It's all water weight. I still act like I'm grocery shopping for the pandemic. I'll buy a lot of things on the city. Exactly, man. We got to get into more of this talk. We might have a live talk about the 600-pound the show, because what we're gonna do. In fact, Gio, when we're back on, we're going to go back in time. We're going to do a calorie count. How many calories did I used to eat in a day? We're going to see. So I've given my menu a long time ago, so it's not going to change. I'm going to use the exact same menu that I gave back in the day. And we're going to see how many calories I've eaten. I'm going to bring up the list. I'll bring up the list. We'll have a show. So we're going to get to all that too. But nonetheless, Jeff's in here. Does Gio order a Diet Coke with his large pepperoni pizza from Little Caesars? He probably does, man.
Little Caesars sometimes be hitting. I'm pretty sure I definitely have had a Diet Coke. I haven't had Little Caesars pizza in a while, but you know what? Man. I had Domino's. That was actually pretty good. But no, a Diet Coke and a large. There was a show called 1,000 or 1,000-Pound Sisters. These two ladies who weigh close to 1,000 pounds. They were talking to the doctor, and she's like, yeah, my mom always said, if you have a Diet Coke, it cancels out the other Coke that you drink. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait, what? No, that doesn't cancel anything out. You still had the Diet Coke.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't cancel anything out. So, hey, listen, those Crazy Puffs at Little Caesars are actually really good. Shout out to Little Caesars, though. It is kind of weird that they're the official NFL sponsor. And whenever I go in there, which is not very often, the service is absolutely terrible. And sometimes the pizza is just bad, too. So
I haven't had the puffs, the Crazy Puffs. I don't think I will either. So no, but shout out to Sith, dude. I used to weigh 350 pounds. I'm at 260 right now. I used to order a large, thin and crispy, 12 wings and a half gallon of sweet tea.
Southern sweet tea.
Good God. Before we go, we got to go. But before we go, so a Little Caesars order for me at lunchtime. This was my Little Caesars because we used to work down the street from one. I would get it was either a large, thin and crispy, what is it, the most bestest pepperoni, whatever, where they just chunk all the pepperoni that they have in the whole store, or it was a large stuffed crust pepperoni pizza. I'd get an order of the wings, which is, I think, is a 12 count of wings, and then I'd get the 2 liter of, at the time I would get either Pepsi or the Crush. They had the Orange Crush. Sometimes I'd get the brisk tea. That would be a lunch for me. So the calorie count on that alone is probably way up there just for a lunchtime.
That's a lot. I remember one of my famous thing I used to love for breakfast. Don't hate me on this, but I love Taco Bell. I'm a big Taco Bell guy, especially in the past.
I've had real taco.
I've had real tacos. But look, my favorite breakfast order, especially in the morning when I used to drive to work, 3 breakfast crunch wraps, right? Extra steak and 3 hash browns and a large soda. Plus I would have lunch. I would eat out. I would eat out all the time. And I'll never forget, Rudy, there was a moment where I was having problems breathing. It was probably around the time we were starting off the podcast, and I would have problems. Like literally at night, I would choke. Like I would be gasping for air. And I told myself, dude, you gotta you got to do something. You're not going to make it. And I was also pre-diabetic. So that also made me say, hey, I better do something. So for the last several years, I've been the best shape of my life. Definitely not perfect. I'm not like Tim Gonzalez, but I definitely want to get, to that Ronnie Coleman. Not Ronnie Coleman, but
no. I just want to see. I'm down. The lowest I've been down was 217. I'm at 236 as of this morning, but I was at 244 recently.
No, I mean, look, you're still, look, to me, as long as you keep getting up, Rudy, you keep going. It's when you stop completely, you completely give up.
Yeah.
And I follow an influencer. He lost a ton of weight. He was into bodybuilding. And then, hey, sometimes life happens, Rudy, right? Things happen. He gained about 300 pounds back, and now he's back on the journey. Mm-hmm. And it's just, so when I watch the show, Rudy, it reminds me, Gio, don't get back to that. Full disclosure, I was never 600 pounds. Please don't think I was 600. I think my heaviest was about 350, 340.
Okay, so my heaviest was like 374, I believe.
Gotcha.
No, I take it back. I was over 400 at one point. I was over 400 pounds at one point. So, yeah, because I think, if I remember correctly, I weighed, at one point, I was in a 5XL t-shirt that would fit me would fit me snug. So at that time, I think I was weighing right around it was like 460.
Wow.
470 is what I was pushing. Bills.
I've seen some of the
pictures.
No, it's
yeah, it was bad. Your breakfast was actually probably a midnight snack for me. So
yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, my thing was sandwiches, Rudy. I could eat. Man, I used to eat so many sandwiches. I mean, I would go through a loaf. It was sad. It wasn't the best version of me, but now I tend to be smarter with decisions. There are some days, Rudy, where I'm like, hey, I'm going on vacation or I'm going here. I'm going to have a little bit of this or that.
Yeah.
Always being conscious of, hey, don't forget, Gio, you can't end up like 600-pound life.
Man, that's the thing. And Louis brought up a comment real quick. We're trying to get the show over, but we got a lot of people commenting, which I don't care. That's fine with me. We'll stay on for a little bit longer. But nonetheless, man, the way I lost it was I discounted calories. I started eating right. I got a lot of vegetables, cut off a lot of stuff. If I eat fast food, it's Chipotle, it's a Jersey Mike's salad. It's something healthy to eat. No sodas. I haven't had a soda in going on 5 years. I haven't had a soda. I mean, sweet tea. I haven't had any tea other than special leaf tea for the past 5 years as well. I've drank nothing but water, nothing but coffee. But if they can see this was my heaviest.
Yeah.
And that was at 482 pounds. So, I mean, yeah. I'll post the picture online so they can check it out. But yeah, that's basically what I did. And I started walking. I walked a mile a day. It was it. And that was it. I just walked. I just became active.
For me, it was, in the beginning, was keto. And I had so much energy, and then I've kind of transitioned to more of a low carb. Now counting calories is basically where I feel more comfortable. Keto's great, but I do like to be a little bit more balanced in having, hey, I might have some pasta, though the pasta will end up being like a red bean pasta, right? So including more carbohydrates, but also staying within the calorie count. And right now I've been really pretty good. The weekend sometimes a little bit more free, but overall just Gio, just go to Cat's Deli. Listen, I think I would definitely take a risk. Cat's Deli is a favorite of mine, and their sandwiches are like about this thick, Rudy, of pastrami on rye with that Swiss. But yeah, food poisoning. I've had food poisoning, Jeff, and it is, Rudy, it's hell, bro. It is hell.
Hell? No, I've honestly, knock on wood, I've yet to have it. I think I've had it. Well, I've had it, just not as bad as most people have had it before.
I got to the point, Rudy, where I couldn't even walk up the stairs. I felt like I was literally like dying, and maybe I was being dramatic, but it was pretty bad. I was throwing up, and I lost about 7 pounds. So,
where did you get food poisoning from?
So I used to work at a restaurant. I was a manager in South Florida, and I had some breakfast that they gave me, and let alone I got sick. And for about a week, I was throwing up, diarrhea. I mean, you name it. Just sick as a dog. But Cass Deli.
I don't wish that upon.
Listen, New York, you can definitely listen. Food poisoning in New York is something that is kind of, I wouldn't say common, but you go to the right restaurant, you're definitely getting food poisoning.
That sucks, dude. I don't wish that upon anybody. All right, we are over time limit here. Shout out to Mark Harpin. Hey, Mark Harpin, Sports Insanity Network, man, one of the big guys out there. Shout out to Sports Insanity Network. Again, we're all in this together. We are part of the Sports Insanity Network. More deadly in Mexico. Yeah, anything in Mexico is pretty much deadly. You're guaranteed to get something down there, that's for sure. This is Coach Gio. It's Rudy Campos Jr. This is Sweep the League. It's the afternoon delight edition. We talked to y'all about NBA. We went hardcore NFL talk. We'll be seeing Gio a lot more. Sweep the League continues. We're trying to do a couple more daily shows for you guys. Again, we are definitely in the evening. Shout out to Louis out there. Louis, hey, La Casino food truck in New Braunfels. Hit it up, guys. It's fantastic. It's great. We're gonna be going out there as well. We're gonna get Shamaya and a couple of other guys to go out there. Maybe do a couple of shots out there. We'll get some commercials for you guys out there. Support all of our sponsors: Sports Saturday Network, La Casino Food Truck, Mudslingers, Burger Boy, Lids, MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea. All you guys are partners here at Sweep the League. We're gonna be doing some giveaways here the next couple of weeks, so be sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, this is Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Gio. Promise we're not going to eat anything bad this weekend. At least I hope not. For everybody out there, we will see you guys on Monday. If not this week, we'll try to jump on this weekend, maybe do a quick tidbit here. But if not, we will see you guys on Monday. Later, guys.